Welcome, everybody. That's right. Another live at 5. That's right. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see, can I do it? 7, no, wait, 5, 3 p.m. I didn't even try. Listen, I was trying to do the whole, but listen, I will say at least 2 p.m. West Coast. That's the easiest one. All right. So wherever you are, thank you so much for tuning in to another live at 5. That's right, another Movers and Shakers Monday. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I've learned listen, Movers and Shakers Monday is very, very important. That motivation after a weekend. Listen, a lot of times your weekend can be great, fantastic, but then there could be times where it's like, oh, I need some motivation. Listen, I don't have 5 cups of coffee and I still ain't getting it. So hopefully this right here, this live at 5 Movers and Shakers Monday can, you know what I'm saying, hopefully kind of jumpstart you. Even though I know it's late, in the day already, 5 p.m. Listen, y'all don't went through the work day, but hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I could take you through the rest of Monday to get you ready for Tuesday. So let's go ahead and talk about this Monday, this Movers and Shakers Monday. Now, once again, let's go ahead and get the work out the way. As y'all know, be sure to follow me on my social media. There you have it. Connect with me. I have a lot of great things happening. You know what I'm saying? Definitely on my Instagram. I'm always keeping you in the know or either drink off the juice with the latest topics that's happening as far as celebrity news or just like news around the world. So you definitely want to check out the Instagram because a lot of people are loving the news feeds that I'm presenting. So definitely check that out. All right. So we're going to get into today's live at 5. I got a very, very powerful message today. And that message is don't wait for perfection. Now listen, some of y'all are like, okay, hold on, let me sit back. Let me just sit back. He's talking to me right now. That's right. That's right. You don't need to have it all figured out. Start where you are and improve as you go. Now listen, this is something for all of us, I'm sure, even myself. There has been times where, I was either working on projects or I was doing something. And I always felt like, okay, you know what? Now before before I can do this, I need all these things done first. But it's not even about perfection. It's just about, just kind of just get it started. It doesn't have to be perfect. We as human beings, we're not perfect. So isn't it interesting? That in itself is interesting. We as human beings, we're not perfect. But for some reason, we feel like our task or our job or our career or our families or whatever has to be perfect. I mean, I don't know why that's in our mind because like we're not perfect. So how can we expect anything that we create or do to be perfect? But a lot of times we do. We feel like things have to be lined up just right for it to happen. What is that saying that people love to say about the stars? When are the stars align or something like that? It's almost like people, we want the stars to align or whatever, and then meaning that everything's going to be perfect, but it's not. All right, so just some examples. Let's talk about gym. Let's just talk about gym, right? A lot of times people feel like before they can exercise or before they can, do whatever, they have to have, I got to get my body right first, before I can join a gym. Now you might be like, well, get your body right. That's the whole point of going to the gym. But no, I've heard people say, that, they want to look a certain way even before they go to the gym, even with exercise, even if you're going to exercise at home. Oh, well, whenever I buy me some exercise ensemble, exercise gear, then I'll start my my workout. It's always something. I mean, maybe you don't have the money to get the exercise gear that you want, but listen, I know you gotta have like something you can put on around the house or the apartment or wherever, and what I'm saying, just slip it on and start working out. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. The same thing with membership. People are like, excuse me. Some people say, oh, once I get my membership money for the gym, then I'll start working out. Well, listen, there has been many times where it took months to years before they could pay that $10 at Planet Fitness a month. Yeah. And you be like, dang, they got $10? Yeah, you be saying the struggle is real for a lot of people. That $10 means shoot, that's a meal for tonight or something. So, a lot of times, maybe you can't get into the gym, like you want to start your exercise. But guess what, everybody? There's so much free beaches or parks or your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Hit the sidewalk and start walking. Or create an exercise routine for yourself right here in your house, and follow it online. There's so many different things, especially online. There's so many different things you can do to exercise. So it don't have to be perfect. Is what I'm saying. You don't got to have the perfect setting for you to exercise. Look at it. Every day is a fresh start. Every day is a fresh start. Sometimes people, they'll get so down on themselves. Oh, well, I didn't do what I said I was going to do today. Oh well, every day is a fresh start. Listen, maybe Monday is going to pass you by. You didn't exercise like you wanted to. You got Tuesday, and don't get so perfect where you say, well, yeah, tomorrow will be Tuesday, but I want to start at the beginning of the week. So I'm going to wait till next Monday. Well, see, the thing about next Monday is you got like 6 other days before next Monday. So by the time you get to next Monday, you're going to be done change your mind and then, just talk yourself out of it. So nothing like the present, just go ahead and do what you got to do. It doesn't have to be perfect. Also, for those people who are, job related, maybe sometimes applying for a promotion, maybe you feel like you have the skill, you have the experience, but you don't have the credential for that particular job that you want. But you know what? But listen, for sometimes it don't have to be perfect. You can still apply. You're either going to get it or not get it, right? Who knows? Maybe with the skill set that you do have, maybe that's what the job was looking for. And this right here is so powerful. Look at that. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So exactly. So for you all thinking like, oh, well, I'll never get this promotion. I don't have this, I don't have the credentials, or I don't have this. You never know unless you try. So maybe, maybe they're not looking for a perfect person. I know a lot of times there are jobs who, if you do have a lot of experience or skills, they won't even hire you. They won't even hire you because they feel like you're overqualified. So, so all jobs, all positions, they're not looking for these perfect people. They're looking for individuals who can just do the work and do a great job at the work. So, don't always think that you have to have so many degrees or diplomas, just to get a specific job. Now, yes, there are some out there who are like that, but you'd be surprised. A lot of them aren't like that. Also, people who are moving to a city, if you're moving to a city, you might say, well, no, I want to move here, but I don't have the job, I don't have a car. Now, those things are important. Okay. Now, especially having a job. Now, however, everybody's situation isn't the same. So now let's just say like you want to move to a city, right? And let's just say you have friends, family, or whomever who are saying, oh, you know what, you should move here. Listen, come live with me, until you get a job. Da, da, da. Now, I know a lot of times, that's not ideal, to live with somebody. However, but if you're the type of person where you're not going to try to live with somebody forever or whatever, like you want to have your own, then why not give it a try? Because see, a lot of times, if someone is, kind of giving you the red carpet or whatever to, maybe start a new life or a new chapter in your career, then, if, once you dot all your I's and cross all your T's and things look like, okay, it might can work, give it a shot. It's nothing like moving to another city, where you can start over, you have new people, new experience, new environment. They'll always say, well, no, I don't have a car, or, I don't have a job, or I don't have this money. Now, listen, I'm not saying, I'm saying like just jump out there, crazy. But like I said, if you can kind of see like, okay, well now, this is my family, they're inviting me to, they said they'll help me out for 90 days or 6 months or a year, but also too, you got to use that year, use that 90 days, use that 6 months. Don't just be like, well, I'm going to sit around for about a good month. No, listen, you want to like just use it, to your advantage. So that way, so that you can, progress and move on, what you want to do. Don't just get too complacent and procrastinate that you don't do anything. So, but just remember, the situation doesn't have to be perfect. I remember, like, listen, whenever I first moved to New York City, oh, please, situations were not perfect. Okay. I was staying with a friend and it was not perfect. But look at me now. Hey, look at me now. What? So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But see, but I was focused. You know what I'm saying? I had a goal. I knew I had a plan. I knew what I wanted. I wasn't like, oh, I'm in New York now. Let me sit around. No, I was like, you know what I'm saying? How they say, look, both feet on the ground. Boom. Boots on the ground. So yeah, you gotta really just do what you gotta do to make it happen. Listen, if you wait for perfect conditions, you will never get anything done. That is not true. Why? Because nothing in this world is perfect, people. So, wow, that is so true. See, I tell you, sometimes my team, they be putting stuff on. They be making me think, like, okay, right. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. Because nothing's perfect in this world. So those of y'all who like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait for this, I'm gonna wait for that, and then y'all wonder why you ain't got nowhere. Because of this right here. Because nothing is perfect. Anyway, let's go on to going back to school. You know what I'm saying? For those people who want to go back to school, but you're like, oh well, no, I'm gonna wait till I go back to school. I'm gonna wait till I have this. I'm gonna wait until this month. I'm gonna wait till this semester. Or I'm gonna wait till my kids graduate and all this kind of stuff. I mean, listen, nothing has to be perfect. Now, I understand that, yes, you know what I'm saying, going back to school, you know what I'm saying, you may want to have things kind of set up a certain way, you know what I'm saying, so that you could actually study and, be focused. But everything don't got to be perfect, remember? Look at this. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. So, kind of plan out, sort out. And see, I've learned that a lot of people, they don't like to make plans. They just want to just do it. And if everything isn't looking like, okay, how it needs to be looking, then I want to do it. But no, everything is going to be looking how you want it to look all the time. Sometimes you really got to make plans. Another thing is the people who are getting married, wedding. Now, this is big. Now this is kind of mostly for the women. Sorry, ladies, but it's kind of following your lap. But a lot of times when people are getting married, so many women, they want to have everything perfect. Everything got to be in place. As far as the groomsmen, the bridesmaids, the location. I don't want it in the court. I want a destination wedding. All this stuff. And yes, now hold on. Now I understand, but you may say, well, wait. Now this is a very special day. I want it to be as close as possible for my day, and I get it. But just remember, everything don't have to be perfect. So like let's just say you want 10 bridesmaids and 10 groomsmen, and like maybe you only get 5. Okay, then go with the 5. Everything don't have to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Listen, maybe you want to have the destination wedding to be in, I don't know, Paris, but you got to settle for the Bahamas, or your backyard. Come on, maybe but the point is, things don't gotta be too perfect. Because listen, listen, as long as you're marrying supposedly the love of your life, I mean, just know that everything don't have to be so perfect. I know people who be like, well, if I can't have my wedding in Paris, then I ain't getting married. So do you even love the person you're with? It just sounds like you just love big events or like, showboating to people. So yeah, don't wait for perfection. Also purchasing a house, a lot of times people, not all, but some people, whenever they purchase a house, they want everything right. Now, listen, once again, I understand. Yes, you do want some things right, like the neighborhood, and I get all that. But once again, I mean, will you find the perfect neighborhood? I mean, you can find a decent neighborhood, yes, but also too, as far as the house. Some people say, okay, well, listen, I want this, I want that type of rug, I want this type of hardwood floor, I need these tiles or these ceilings, I need that. Now, so in other words, some people want like the house to come with, with all the bells and the whistles. Now, once again, I do understand you want your house, you know what I'm saying, where you're going to be living at, day in, day out, to be as close to your liking as possible. But also keep in mind, people, if it's not as perfect as you know what I'm saying, like your dream house is in your dreams, then remember, that's part of the fun of building to your house, adding to your house. Oh, I'm gonna build a barn out, not a barn, but just something, a work shed, or adding on to your house is what I'm trying to say. You know how like a lot of men, maybe their house doesn't come with a man cave. But eventually some men, they add on and make a man cave, and they add on a porch, or they, so yeah, you can always add on. So the point to today is, everything doesn't have to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait for, see, I mean, you hear me call it. Some people, they may never buy a house. So, nope, this house won't have the porch I want. But nope, this house, these rooms are too small. Or nope, I don't like the color of the wall. You can always paint. You can always add on. And you can just always just do different things, you know what I'm saying, to make your house be the dream house that you want. So that goes with all those things I said, from the gym to the promotion, to moving to a city, to going back to school, to to getting married, and also to purchasing a house, and so many much more out things out there that I didn't talk about. Just know everything doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And so once again, the thing of today is, don't wait for perfection. So yeah, be a mover and a shaker. You know what I'm saying? Get out there and do things. Listen, get out there and create. And listen, there may be doubt that comes to your mind, but just kind of overcome it and just keep going. Hey, listen, as long as you all know that, listen, I'm doing these things, it's not going to be perfect. It may not, it may not be 100% to my liking, but there are always ways to make things better, or add on, or modify. Because why? It ain't going to be perfect. And if you're waiting on perfection, you'll never get anything done. And that is your movers and shakers for Monday. That's right, for your guy, Z Fly. All right, so hopefully that helps someone out there, who could be struggling with some of those things that I was saying. And if not, hopefully the message, can kind of like just, shine a light on, you don't have to be so perfect to do certain things. So, and now listen, that goes for me too. But, sometimes I'd be like, okay, I need this. But like, I'm saying, today message really helped me out as well. So there you have it. All right, everybody. So once again, be sure to follow me on my social media. I really do appreciate you all today for tuning in. Like I said, I really hope that, it really helped someone out. What else? Oh, be sure to tune in next week, because I will have another weekly thing, whether it's a Movers and Shakers Monday, a Tip Tuesday, a Wondering Wednesday, a Throwback Thursday, or a Flashback Friday. I'm going to be delivering it to you. So be sure to tune in next week to see what day will I be live at 5. And once again, be sure to follow me right there. And my website, I'm going to show my website real quick. Be sure to go to my website, and that way you can see all things Z Fly and Fly World Media and Fly Entertainment. And that is www.fly-entertainment.media. That's right. So thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in at Live at 5. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next week, stay fly, not high. Bye-bye.